With any company, there's always so much noise in the market. Today, we're going to cut through all of that to figure out the real story behind one company in particular, SAMHI Hotels. Let's see what's really going on here. So when you first look at the headlines about SAMHI, it looks kind of like this. Just a jumble of words, right? Stocks, surge, headwinds, IPO. It's so easy to get lost. You're left wondering, is this good? Is this bad? It's just a lot to take in. But here's where it gets interesting. Once we actually sift through that noise and analyze what the headlines are saying, a pretty surprising picture starts to form. The vast majority of the news is either neutral or positive. There's actually very little that's outright negative. And that's our first real clue that maybe there's a more optimistic story hiding under the surface. So let's start building that story. To really get what's happening with SAMHI now, you got to look back at where they've been. And the theme that keeps popping up over and over again is this idea of a beaten down stock. I mean, this headline from Equity Master just sums it up perfectly, right? SAMHI was being framed as this underperformer, a company that maybe investors had kind of forgotten about. But look at that last word, comeback. That's the key. The idea that there was some hidden potential was already starting to bubble up. And that begs the question, what happened? A stock doesn't just go from beaten down to a comeback kid all on its own. Something had to flip the switch. Some catalyst had to light the fuse. Well, for SAMHI, it turns out it wasn't just one thing. Our analysis shows there were two very specific, very powerful bits of good news that really started to change how people saw the company. The first catalyst is just one number, but wow, what a number, 111%. A figure like that is pretty much impossible for the market to ignore. But what does it actually represent? Okay, here's the deal. That 111% was the surge in their profit after tax. This is a massive signal of real financial health. We're not talking about hype here. This is a hard number that shows the business is performing incredibly well. Now, the second piece of good news was more about the future. Getting the official go-ahead for a major new hotel project, that shows real, tangible progress. It tells investors, hey, we're not just managing what we have, we're actively growing and building what's next. Look, a massive profit jump and a new project are great, but the story isn't really complete until the rest of the market starts paying attention. And this is where we start to see that ripple effect. And boy, did the market take notice. All of a sudden, SAMHI starts showing up on analysts' stocks to buy lists. Then we see headlines about institutional investors, the big funds, the big banks, having a great week with the stock. That's third-party validation. That's the market saying, yep, we see those positive signs and we're buying in. Okay, but let's pump the brakes for just a second. A good analysis is never one-sided. For all this positive momentum, we have to look at the other side of the coin to really get the full picture. And first, just a quick, transparent note about our source material here. You'll see that a lot of these articles have future dates, which is likely just a glitch in the data feed. Because of that, we're focusing on the major themes shaping the company's story right now, not on a strict chronological timeline. Just wanted to be upfront about that. So this brings us to the central conflict, this sort of tug of war. On one side, you have the company's powerful internal strengths, that amazing earnings growth, and a solid pipeline of new projects. But on the other side, you've got these external risks. We see talk of headwinds, which are just industry-wide challenges, and of course, the company's own history of not performing so well. So when we put all these pieces together, where does that leave us? What's the final analysis here? The story of SAMHI Hotels isn't a story of guaranteed success. It's the story of a potential turnaround. And it's a really compelling one. You've got a company with these clear, positive signals on the inside, great profits, visible growth, and it's pushing against this tide of bigger challenges facing its entire industry. And this really leaves us with the ultimate question. We've seen the powerful catalysts, and we've seen the external risks. So the real tension is this. Are the company's internal strengths powerful enough to let it defy the direction of its entire industry? That is the comeback story the market is watching so closely.